Alright, so this show knocked me out for the last 2.5 weeks, but I'm finally conscious and ready to edit this video. Anime Expo is North America's largest anime convention held in Los Angeles. For 2025, they claim to have had 41,000 attendees. I think that's just an average of 100,000 people who tapped in 4 times each, but that is still a lot of people. Artist Alley used to just be this section, but this year they decided to get rid of the annex, which is a good decision honestly, and replace it with more artists. Now, as someone who has watched every single AX vlog, I have noticed a huge variation in numbers regarding how many artists there actually were. And seeing as how we do have the map, I'm just gonna crunch some numbers. Now, I thought this would be easy, just add the largest number on each row. Except wait, there are missing numbers everywhere. Now we gotta do it all over again. And for both maps, and I don't even remember how to do math. Is it embarrassing if I pull out the calculator to add 11 and 12? But anyway, here is the end result that I counted. 565 artists last year, 957 this year. Don't claim this to be the absolute truth. I'm an artist, not a mathematician. Which means 392 additional artists, one of which was me. Now, this is my 3rd year doing Anime Expo, and I am so glad to be back. Not only because it continues to be my best show, but also because it is so fun seeing everyone from various aspects of my life in one place. It's kind of like the weirdest crossover episode of my year. I think that also means that all of my friends are weebs. But anyway, this video will be first half vlog content and second half a breakdown of how much I sold, of what, and changes in my business strategy. Our journey begins on Wednesday, July 2nd at 3:30 a.m. I make my way over to the St. Louis airport to catch my 6 a.m. flight to Los Angeles. At LA, I waited for my friend Chelsea to arrive so that we could share an Uber off the plane she came, and along with one of you who sniped me in baggage claim. You seem overwhelmed, they said. I have often been told that people think that they scare me or overwhelm me, but don't worry, I am glad to see you. So I make it to my table for setup, and it is a lot closer to the front than I thought it was gonna be. I forgot to film the final product, but this is what it looks like. Big prints, small prints, and on the right, the stamp rallies that I'm in. Now, it does look a little awkward on that right corner over there, and I wish that I was able to figure out a better way to do that, but I didn't have those stamp rally materials to practice with at home, so we did what we could. And so after setting up, I help Chelsea finish setting up, and we go outside to meet a friend for dinner. Now, I thought the weather in LA was wonderful this weekend. Blue skies, 60s and 70s all weekend. Coming from St. Louis, which was hitting the 90s at this point, I was delighted. However, Chelsea's delicate Canadian lungs could not handle it, and so after a wonderful dinner, back to the hotel we go. Alright, now cut the music. I have to tell you about this hotel. We stayed at the Intercontinental LA downtown. This is a 27-minute walk or an 8-minute Uber to the convention center. I mean, that is all fine. But the thing here is that the lobby is on the 70th floor, okay? And our hotel room was on the 37th. So let me introduce you to the pathing we had to take every day. Let's say our hotel room is somewhere around here. The lobby is on the top floor of this building, and the ground floor is obviously down here. In order to check in, we had to go from the ground floor all the way to the top floor, and only from there can we go to our hotel room. And if we wanted to get out, we had to go from our hotel room up to the lobby, and from there, we transfer elevators and go back down to the ground floor. Every day, every time I wanted to leave my hotel room. There was no way to just go from my room to the ground floor. What made it somewhat worse is that there were no buttons anywhere. There were only screens. In fact, we tried to go down to our hotel room, and Ziox was in the elevator. He was like, "You guys can't do that. You have to go back outside and press the button." And I was like, "Okay, thanks Ziox, bye." But I suppose it's comforting to know that we are all trapped in this cycle. Alright, so admittedly, this is a pretty nice hotel room. The nicest I've had so far in my years of attending AX. Aside from the fact that we couldn't figure out how to turn on any of the lights because there were no freaking buttons, it was a great time. 2 queen beds for 3 people. Now, I had shipped my prints to this hotel ahead of time, and luckily they did get delivered to me, so I was able to unpack them and sort them for the weekend. I had also ordered plastic sleeves for my prints to this very hotel, and they said they'd been delivered, but they were unable to find them this entire weekend. But if I had to choose between having plastic sleeves and having actual prints to sell, obviously I am not that angry about this situation. Late at night, our final roommate arrived, and I took, admittedly, great joy in watching her try to figure out how to turn on the lights in this room.
Wait, you guys unplugged the light? Is that why? No. Why is the light not on?
We ran out of big towels.
Can we get more towels?
What
Laxton! I don't like this hotel.
What the fuck?
Oh, we're blinded.
Just came on its own.
What the hell is wrong with this? They're so cute.
And so, after serenading each other through the cuck window in the bathroom, I finally lay to rest.
Ooh, saucy.
And here we go, day 1 of AX, Thursday, July 3rd. We were getting ready in our hotel room when we received a text from our friend. Guys, there's a fire. What a great start to Anime Expo 2025. So the fire, along with the ridiculous hotel route that we have to take and having to call an Uber and having to meet up with my helper to give her her badge and not being able to find which entrance I was supposed to go into, it did mean I was a little bit late. But I did see Kim Dokja along the way, so it was worth it.
Oh my god, is that my baby girl?
I was like, there's not gonna be anyone waiting at the booth. Immediately got slammed for an hour and a half, so that was nice. It's 10:40 now. Any thoughts about being a helper, Anne?
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, we're just selling stuff.
Really insightful.
I mean, I have nothing. It's been 2 hours, so I don't have that much to say about
She
it.
doesn't have experience yet, but I think as somebody who has never done this before, you're doing well.
Okay.
AX goes hard. Yay! I think we look kind of similar in this tiny thumbnail.
That's are you being racist against yourself?
No, last year people said me and Chelsea look the same also.
I don't know. Maybe the viewers are racist.
Do you think if a dedicated viewer came here, they would think you or me?
Someone did say I enjoy your videos.
Oh.
I was like, thanks.
Okay, well, I took a break to go walk around, and meanwhile, Anne experienced something.
One guy, he was interested in the Kate Bai print, and then he was like, I have a question. Are they in love in this scene? And, I was like, I'm not the artist, so I can't, give you the original interpretation, but I think they are. They're in a U-Haul. They're moving in together.
You said that?
No, I said they're U-hauling.
Okay.
The guy was like, oh, they're moving in together. I was like, yeah.
Okay, you were like, I can't
The
interpret this,
classic.
but I have my own AU.
Yeah, but anyway, he bought the print after hearing that.
Okay,
so
okay.
I guess that's what he wanted.
Good sales, good sales.
Hi Alyssa, hope you get your food.
After the con day ended, I got a wonderful dinner with friends, and I wanted to get snacks for the weekend, so we went to H Mart.
All my life, I thought this was the original. This was this is a knockoff of this. Really? This is OG.
And so I headed back to my hotel room with all my snacks, where Chelsea was making abstract art.
What the hell are you doing? Is that Chica?
Chico, why are you saying Chico and everything?
Chica? God, this is so creepy.
Day 2, Friday, July 4th. It's Haruhi Day. I admit I was in a bit of a foul mood this morning. Not due to anything specific. Perhaps I was just tired because an AX Thursday feels like an entire con weekend elsewhere. And I was like, oh my god, it's only day 2. I was also wigless, wouldn't have a helper until later in the day, And historically, Thursday has always been my best day. It's been wild seeing other vlogs and people talking about how their best days are like Saturday. And I'm like, no, for me, it like starts off really high and it's a gentle slope down for the rest of the weekend. So I'm like, you know, I already hit my peak. I'm just like gonna coast for the rest of the weekend, I guess.
Yeah, my dilemma right now is that I'm not that hungry, but I want to eat this when it's warm, but this is going to make me thirsty. And if I'm thirsty, I'll drink water. If I drink water, I'm going to need to go to the bathroom, but I don't have a helper, so if I go to the bathroom, I'll just lose sales. So that means I should probably just not eat or drink water.
But soon enough, my helper for the day arrived and I was no longer maidenless and began to feel a bit better.
Okay, so I have the snacks that I was forced to buy yesterday. It just tastes like a veggie straw. It's certainly something to eat.
My favorite part about being Haruhi is that I could achieve this ratatouille perspective so that you can pretend to be the rat on my head. Now, there's not much b-roll this weekend because sadly I did not get time to walk around at all. I kind of feel like a lot of people come by my table specifically to say hi to me, so I feel bad leaving. And my helpers are both like they're just my college friends who received a free badge in return for helping me do bathroom breaks. Like, they're not trained for this. They work in an office. They're not used to customer service. They're not extroverts. Like, I can't throw them to the sharks like that. Though, needless to say, I spent like 95% of my time at this con behind the table, which does mean I got to meet a lot of you. So if you did stop by to say hi, it means it was worth it. And so the con day ended and it was finally Haruhi time. And so we Haruhi'd all over the place. I gotta admit, I was having an out-of-body experience watching Raphael from Love and Deep Space serenade 4 Haruhis on his recorder with Hare Hare Yukai in the year 2025. No better way to celebrate July 4th, in my opinion. And so it looks like this hotel room was good for something. We took many photos, including hinge photos for our friend, who has many traits and qualities. So ladies, if you are a single woman, his proposal to you is on the screen now. Day 3, Saturday, July 5th. We woke up in the morning and the city was filled with smog. It was unclear whether that was all the smoke from all the fireworks or if it was natural.
So yesterday I brought a bunch of restock and it was basically about full here and we sold like this much, and I started panicking about like we're gonna run out of some popular ones like this library one, and the other Orv ones are also really popular, but I do not feel like reprinting this weekend. Because I still have this much, and I have more in the hotel also. And I have all of my large prints as well. Yeah, selling out of some of the prints. I sold out of Dr. Stein. I only brought him because one person commented on my YouTube video, I can't wait to buy Dr. Stein at Anime Expo. I wasn't going to bring him in the first place, but I brought it because of him. And I don't know if they actually came to buy it, and now it's gone. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. I hope you did. That's you, viewer. Yeah, tell me. And got me a bunch of free yaoi to browse. Yeah. Oh yeah, you ran out of bags. Had to get more bags. Bags, the most fun part of our day, you know? Well, everyone is running out of bags.
in the Artist Alley Discord, everyone's like, oh, I need bags, I need bags. It seems like no one on the Discord is responding, but I'm looking around and I see people with bags. So I just gave her $5 and I was like, go find someone with bags.
It's like, okay, I'll just walk aimlessly until I see a pile of bags. I walk up the aisle and like past the like walkway, so it's not even in this section. They've never seen me in my life. I see someone with like a big box of bags, you know, the standard this but in a box. So let me ask you if I can borrow some bags. And as I approach them and say like, hi, we're looking for some bags, the person on the table right next to them is like, you need bags? They like call this box out from under the table and it's filled with like loose bags, unfolded, like crumpled bags. They're like, I have so many bags. And then they put all the bags in another bag and just gave me this big bag of bags. But they were like so enthusiastic and I had the $5 in my hand. So I was like, you can have this. But then they were like, are you sure? Are you sure? Really? I can have. I'm like, yeah, because you're like so enthusiastic to give me back. You deserve it. But I came back with the like shitty bag and Lex was like, what the fuck are these bags? Why is it literally trash? So then I went back and I was like, can I have the $5 back? And they, true to their word, they gave the $5 back. After they said like, do you need more bags? It's like, sorry, we've decided we need a different type of bag. And then I had to go to the table right next to them and then give them the $5 that I had just received back for their stack of bags. That was enough bags to tide us over for the rest of the day, so yeah, I would consider this a success.
It was successful, so if you're missing bags, this is what I recommend you do.
Beg on the street for bags.
Yeah. There are people here who definitely have too many. They're just like not reading the Discord. Talk to your neighbors. Haha. Anyway, goodbye.
After that whole ordeal, I went to dinner with some college/Artist Alley friends. And I highly recommend this restaurant, by the way, if you're ever in LA. I really like them. Sunday, July 6th, the last day of AX. Our Uber to the convention center had the cutest dog ever, and so I was feeling very blessed. At this point, I had sold out of the popular stuff, which means like Apothecary Diaries, the Orb print that I talked about yesterday, and some other stuff. It was a pretty low-key day, a perfect end to Anime Expo 2025. Well, welcome to the analysis section. Another AX in the books, another data point for our spreadsheets. Okay, so on the screen here, I have on the left 2024 AX and on the right 2025 AX. Aesthetically, I'm gonna be real, last year was better. And also monetarily, last year was also better, which seems to be a trend throughout the Artist Alley. However, if last year was 100%, this year I did 93% of last year, which I don't think is that big of a drop. And after calculating my expenses, the profit ended up being just about the same. So to me, I think I just did about the same as last year, which is a win due to all of the changes that I made to how I operate. So the main theme of like all the changes that I made between last year and this year is going to be based on the fact that I want to put my art first. So what that means is that last year, if you watch my vlog, my strategy was to move as much stock as possible. So I priced things to move. These little guys were 4 by 6 inches and they were $5 each. I wanted them to fly off the shelves and they did. But that has changed and now my prints are a lot bigger. These are now 8.5 by 5.5 inches big and $10 each. And that was because honestly at a 4 by 6 scale, you really couldn't see very much of my art's details, which is like I draw highly detailed art. So it's like you're missing half the point there. And I honestly think that people would be willing to pay more for a slightly bigger version of my art. So I made that change. Also, the large prints used to be $20. I bumped that up to $25. I also had this section of like charms and stickers that I was doing. And as you can see, that is all gone now. Basically, I did a lot of cons last year and I feel like I was heavily influenced to make that sort of merch, not based on like I would actually want to make them and buy them myself, but actually because other people in Artist Alley was making similar stuff, so I was like, maybe I can try doing that too. Maybe in the future I'll be able to find a way to do charms and stickers in a way that will feel authentic, but for now, no more of this. I will invest a lot more time in doing illustrations. I was in 2 stamp rallies, both of which had really cute prizes, and I do think that they bumped sales quite a lot. In the future, I hope to have enough of my own stock to fill this area here and possibly a little bit of this area here, but that would require a lot more illustrating. Something I did play around with when messing with my setup was moving this top postcard stand down here so that it could feel more balanced, but I really wanted to try putting postcards at eye level for the customer. Because like I said, my stuff is very detailed. And when you are farther away, it's really hard to see things that are like lower on the table. And in a convention that is as crowded as AX, you really want as many things as possible to be eye level or higher. So I just felt like putting my little prints both on the table was doing a little bit of a disservice. So that is why this setup looks like this. It does look a little awkward, you know, and maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but I will definitely try this 2 postcard stands on the table setup at ANYC because I won't be any stamp rallies or anything. So we'll see how that works there. Some things that I could have done better is that last year I had so much signage. This year I really flopped on the signage. I made them like super last minute. A lot of people couldn't tell like how much things cost. I had my sign right here, but there was no other place to really put it. And I forgot to bring like a stand. Otherwise, I probably would have put it right here. I also forgot to bring business cards, and the business cards that I do have my handle really small. So like I had taped my business card down to the table here. My handle is so small that it's going to be hard for people to like even see that in the picture, honestly. So my business cards are made for like my shop because I like write stuff on them when I put them in the package. But I think in the future, I will need to specifically design better business cards for conventions. One bad habit that I noticed about myself is that like putting art first is important, yes, but it means that I tend to disregard other aspects of like running a business. For example, like how the brand presents itself. For me, not bringing business cards and like having really shitty signage is like okay because it's like you don't need to know who I am to enjoy my art. But I also acknowledge that like it's not really about that. Like sometimes it's just informative and it helps people like understand things better if you present things in a way that like is clear and makes sense. It's just a personal thing where I feel like being too branded sometimes takes away from your art. But the ideal obviously is to have like your brand aesthetics and your personal aesthetics be like the same thing so it doesn't feel inauthentic. I think that's the main thing is like if your brand feels inauthentic to who you are, it gives me the ick. Obviously in the past I have followed trends and that never felt good. So I guess we're just in the era of like, I'm just trying to build this from the ground up in a way that makes sense to who I am, which I guess is what a brand is. So yeah, you were learning things. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's talk specifics about how much I sold. So I talked about the changes in my pricing structure. Another thing that I changed was how I phrased these. So I used to do the thing where it's like buy 3 get 1 free. The get 1 free is a very common thing to see in Artist Alley, but I stopped saying it that way because I found in the past that sometimes people don't care about getting the free one, but if you kind of like remind them, oh, you can get one for free, then they will just take one that they didn't even really want that you could have sold to someone else. So instead I changed the phrasing to be like 25 for 1 or 50 for 3. This is essentially the same thing as buy 2 get 1 free, but since I've added this 2 for 40 thing, there's like a little bit of friction between 2 and 3 prints purchased, if you know what I mean. All right, so what we're looking at here is that on the left, everything here is new and everything on the right is older. I had basically everything in both large and small except for these over here. These are only small. All right, so I'm going to talk about how much I sold and for what fandoms. I hope it'll be somewhat informative and give you a data point if you are interested in tabling at AX in the future. I did hear that a lot of people were underwhelmed by how AX performed and felt like they over-prepared. I definitely also over-prepared, but that is because I have 2 upcoming conventions also that I was like, I'm just going to order everything I need now. And if I have extras after AX, I'll just like ship it to my next convention. So it's not really lost revenue or anything. I don't know if this will help you temper expectations or anything. Just remember that I am a print only artist. I guess there's like not that many of us making YouTube videos about this sort of thing. So I don't know, hope you gain something from this. For these small prints, I sold an average of, let's see, 40.6 each. Let me write it somewhere. The ones that sold the most were Apothecary Diaries. For that one, I sold 100. I only had 100, and I sold all of them. Another thing is that I ordered my prints from Cat Print, and very frequently they will send like extra prints, or they will just mess up. They did mess up my order this time. I ordered a bunch of big boot hills, and they never printed that. Instead, they gave me like double the amount of like this print, which is fine. I think that this boot hill one didn't need to be big in the first place, so I was like, whatever. But they do mess up and they do tend to give extras, and I didn't count how many specifically that I had. So these numbers are kind of like wibbly wobbly, okay? I don't even know if they're true or not, basically. But Apothecary Diaries 100. After that was Avatar at 76. And then Honkai Star Rail at 69. Nice. Like when I talk about like the numbers not really making sense, one number that definitely didn't make any sense was that I didn't have any Skate the Infinity large prints when I came to the convention. I ordered 15 of them from Cat Print, and when I came back I had 16 of them, but I definitely sold at least one of them. So I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand any of that. So that's just an example. So yes, these 3 were my best sellers. For the rest of them, there were around generally 30 of each. For my large prints, I don't really have an average for you because, like, once again, like, they sent me the wrong amount of this. They didn't have this. The Skate the Infinity number was really confusing, and I also left a bunch of arcane prints at my table after leaving, because these large versions, basically, I brought way too many. I overestimated for sure, and I could not bring back some of the leftovers. So I really do not know how many I sold of these 3 specifically. If we disregard the arcane ones, the Honkai Star Rail one and Skate the Infinity, the average amount sold was around 14 of each. My bestseller was Apothecary Diaries once again. That one sold 43 large ones. Second to that was the Ore of Library. That one sold 22. And the rest of them were like 10 to 20-ish. Alright, and to wrap this up, let's talk about general sales patterns. So like I said in the vlog, Thursday was my best day. If Thursday was at 100% for me, then Friday was around 80% of Thursday, and then Saturday was like basically the same-ish as Friday, but a little bit worse, and then Sunday was around half of Thursday. So my sales pattern went like this. This is typical for me at AX, not typical for me at any other conventions. I don't know why this is. Perhaps it's the catalog culture and the stamp rally culture bringing everyone to my table on day one. I made essentially equal amounts of cash and card sales. My average sale amount was $21.5. My average sale amount last year was $17.5. So my goal was to raise my average sale, and if I got less sales, then that was kind of whatever, because it kind of averages out, you know. I'm kind of like a min-maxer. I'd rather like do one thing for a lot of money than to do a whole lot of little things for the same amount of money. Alright, so that concludes our AX 2025 vlog. Thank you again for another great year. This is my longest Artist Alley vlog yet, and somehow while I was editing this, I thought there was no way that this was gonna get done in an appropriate way. Thanks for sticking around. Hope this was helpful or entertaining, and I will see you in the next video.